Hello and welcome to another episode of the SMEFocus show brought to you by FactoryNOW TV. I'm your host, Chris Greenough, and in this show we will focus on SMEs within the British manufacturing sector. Every week we will discuss and analyse the opportunities and challenges facing the industry in these unprecedented times. I have worked in the sector for over 26 years and I'm CCO at STE Technology, one of the leading manufacturers of pressings and assemblies in the UK. So as you can hopefully appreciate, this show is very much for manufacturers by manufacturers. My guest today is Peter Boneham, Managing Director at Boneham and Turner Ltd. Peter, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Chris. It's great to be here and honoured to be on the to be part of your show.
You're welcome. It's great to see you. So tell us about Boneham and Turner and what you do.
Well, Boneham and Turner is still a family-run SME. We've been around for 103 years this year, and I run it with my co-director Charles Boneham, and we're fourth generation. It's gone through sort of many changes over the years in terms of what we produce and how we produce it, but we're very much a UK manufacturer and still, like say, family run and family operated.
Fantastic. So as a long-established, 103 years, as you say, family-run business, what are the biggest issues facing your business growth at this time?
I suppose it's continually innovating, and that's both culture, whatever, people, culture, and your product as well, your product offering. It's, the reason we've existed for so long is that reinvention and trying to keep up with market changes, new product initiations and innovating what we do. We've taken a lot of our sort of traditional products and made them more applicable for modern manufacturing methods, and we continually innovate the way we manufacture those items and how we bring them to market too. I think that's very important. I think when you're an old company, we've been around for a long time, it's very easy to sort of nestle into a cultural way of doing things. So it's very important to keep reinventing and keep changing yourself.
And it's really that reinvention, staying ahead, not just of the market, but staying ahead of your competitors. You really need to, if you don't innovate and change, you're going backwards all the time, I find, in UK manufacturing.
Yeah, I think what's great about the UK is, our ability to innovate and bringing new technology to market. I think probably one of the main roadblocks is carrying that innovation through to highly productive and efficient manufacture. I think in mass production in the UK, I think that can be quite a roadblock, really.
And in terms of you supplying to a very wide range of sectors, including motorsport, which sectors that you supply into are the most challenging in terms of not just technical, but commercial, building relationships? I'd
say aerospace is the Formula One is very demanding. You have to be there, get it done very quickly. You have to respond very quickly. You have to maintain a huge level of quality whilst doing things as fast as you can. So it's all about automating as much as you can, attaching as much process to things so it just doesn't fail. Everything has to be. If you're called on last minute, you just have to deliver. And that's a core element of our business. We are incredibly reliable for that sector. Aerospace, it's very difficult not to crack. Obviously, we're AS9100 accredited. We have all the processes aligned. We have our manufacturing capacity aligned to aerospace. But it's there's many tiers to it. There's many ways of getting into it. There's many sub tiers supplying into it. So it's a very difficult market and one sometimes that's people don't quite want to change that purchasing decision and put that signature to that, so that's changing supply chain. So it's a very difficult market to sell to, but it's a good one to be involved in. It's fast paced.
So in terms of your sort of turnover currently, number of people working for you, where does the company stand? A small SME, I guess.
Yeah, we're a small SME. We're currently around 40 people. We did lose some, like most, during 2020. We had to make some tough decisions, like a lot of companies in our position. but we have recruited since. Things have been picking back up, and we're around 40 people at the moment. We also have a sales facility in the US, which is wholly owned, and that has 10 people.
Fantastic. And you mentioned sort of recruiting. You've always supported apprenticeships and bringing on the next generation. Obviously, 2020 was a tough year for many. Have you got plans to take on more apprentices this year and into the future?
Yes, we have. Yes, it's always been a great scheme for us, and we've seen people over the years, come from Boneham and Turner and go on to work at BAE, Rolls-Royce, and other aerospace industries. It's quite a renowned program here at Boneham and Turner years ago. We were around about 500 people. We used to take on around 20 apprentices a year, so it was a really thought of scheme here. We continue to do so, and we firmly believe in bringing on the engineers of tomorrow. That's by apprenticeship schemes, or we're looking at this Kickstarter scheme as well. We've got a few positions open for those. And it's very much about developing those skills of the future, and also keeping our technology up as well, because that's the other thing. It's good for them to learn traditional skills, but they need to learn on the technology of tomorrow, or the technology that's going now. So that's the important thing as well. It's keeping up with that.
And in terms of, you said you're a family-run business. In terms of the relationship, you and Charles, how does that work? Is that tough some days, I guess, to be working with a sibling and having to make tough decisions?
Yeah, I mean, it has its ups and downs, like any relationship does, doesn't it? But we're very much focused. We're on the joint. We have a really sort of pre-programmed vision. We have the same sort of core focus. So I think as long as that's communicated and you both row in the right direction, then you just get over those waves, don't you, on the way. And it's it's actually
if you've got a shared interest, and it is, working very closely together, you do end up thinking very similarly. And if you've got the same plan all the way through, it's actually good to have somebody who's got exactly the same thought process as you. So it's more supporting, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the key is to be coherent, but on your vision, on your strategy, because then, if either one waves off, or any of your management team sort of wave off, you pull it back together by saying, "Look, this is where we're going. This is is what we're doing, heading in that direction." And you always pull back to that core focus, that core vision, and if you're aligned in that way, then any disagreement or change in emphasis just can be straightened out.
Absolutely. So in terms of the business, you mentioned you were at 1.500, you're now 40. The business has changed. How have you managed that change? How's that process gone? Because you are very much now bespoke, fast moving.
Yeah. It's changing the way we manufacture, the way we manufacture and what we manufacture. We've, modern machinery. Before we just have a run of autos everywhere, and a drawing office of 50 people or whatever, and now everything's CAD design. All our machines are sliding heads, lights out, or Morrisiki CNCs. And of course, computers automating everything as much as possible. Any admin function we look to try and reduce and automate, because not just because it helps us be more competitive, but it's also that customer experience. If you can streamline that interaction process, then a bit like an Amazon situation, that all the sort of resistance is out of that transaction. It's a far better experience for our customers, and and it shows.
And certainly in terms of supplying into, you mentioned Formula One, they're very much looking for design, production, delivery in a very, very short space of time, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely. We've slickened it. We know really what our core F1 customers need, what they require in terms of their product type. And so we've attached processes to that to make it a seamless, very, very quick, again, with very little resistance. So it gets them before we commit, the date we've committed to, which keeps our reputation and means that, we're open to opportunities for any further developments in the future.
Do you get to go to the races?
Well, not at the moment. I've been to a couple, yeah. And what's nice about the F1 industry, if you're fully supportive of certain teams, if they win the championship or win a race, you often get, a thank you or a nice picture for the wall or a schematic of the car. Some of those teams are very much interested in the supply chain, believing in them and buying into their team. So it's almost what the supply chain is one great team, and they send you a questionnaire to see what your beliefs are and where you support and how you feel about them. So it's very much a team process, all of that. So yeah.
Fantastic. And in terms of, obviously, 2021 for many was probably one of the toughest years we've had in UK manufacturing. What are the plans for the rest of 2021? You see orders picking up through Q1. What about the rest of the year?
Yeah, it's very much, 2020, just quickly nipping back to 2020, we made a very conscious decision to actually push the button on a lot of investments in machinery. So we installed at least 3 or 4 new bits of kit. We're also partnered with the Aerospace Up program, and our operations manager Stacey's working to put a new inspection lab in. So we've got a new inspection lab going in 2021, which got some new high-tech kit in for instant inspection processes, which would really slick things up. I think we're going to see a lot of those investments pay off. I think we're going to see our sort of investment in our people pay off. I think we're going to see all the hard work they've put in pay off. We've certainly seen it in the first quarter of the year. We're back on par with 2019. And the last 2 months have certainly been, in terms of orders coming through the door, record months compared to previous 3 or 4 years. So I see that trend continuing because we've put that effort in, and everybody in the business has. And the investments we've put in, I can see, they really are taking off. So it's fantastic to see. And I think it's going to be a good year. I think it's going to be I think we are going to see the roaring 20s, and I think that's the positive way to look at it.
Absolutely. And that reshoring, that push to buy British, I think for the rest of 21 and going into 22, I think companies who are willing to invest, who have invested in the kit, but not just the kit, but their people, like Boneham and Turner, will reap the rewards going forward. Absolutely.
I'm a firm believer in that. I think the people that put the effort in during 2020 or had the ability to, I think are going to see the benefit in 2021.
Fantastic. Peter, thanks for your time today. Really good to talk to you, and I'd like to talk to you later in the year to see how that investment's paid off, and hopefully you continue to have a great year.
No, thank you very much, Chris, and I look forward to seeing you again at an event soon.
Brilliant. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks.
That brings us to the end of another show. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to meeting more of our brilliant SME manufacturers like Peter next week. If you would like to get in touch with the show with a comment, a suggestion, or even to appear on a future episode, please email us tv@mtd.media. Thank you again, Peter, for your time. A great show. From me, Chris G at SDE. Goodbye.